Quayle, and welcome to the Loaf of Bread GAA podcast, slicing into the GAA of the past, present and future. Join me, Jason Keelan, as we cut into the largest loaf of bread known to mankind.
Hello, Diegwich, bonjour, ni hao, konnichiwa, guten tag and privyet to you all wherever you're listening in. What started as a message to 10 clubs has now expanded to more than 50 clubs globally from all continents. The journey through Loaf 2 GAA Global continues this week as we move on to our next destination in the GAA world. So come with me on the GAA journey of a lifetime and meet clubs from Canada to Argentina, South Africa to Gibraltar, Bermuda to the North Pole, New Zealand to Kuwait, Knoxville to Qatar, and literally everywhere in between. So grab the passports, grab the bags, it's time to go. On Slice 29 this week, I fly from the south of the US up to the western city of Vancouver in the beautiful Canada, one of my favourite places in the world. It is here I meet the gent himself, Patrick Quayle, former Fermanagh goalkeeper and now co-founder of the St Finnian's GAA club in the city. We chat all about his time with Fermanagh and Malachy O'Rourke, St Patrick's Donagh back home, playing with the ISSC GAA before starting up St Finnian's, life in Vancouver, penalty shootout victories, how the Finian name came in, father Ted chats, and much more. But first, as usual, let's find our way through the beautiful city of Vancouver on the Canadian west side. Bon Soltas. As I arrive in Vancouver, I'm greeted by the sounds of a man born just down the road, Mr. Michael Bublé. And today is Canadian Thanksgiving Day, so have a great day everybody. Vancouver is located in the state of British Columbia on the western side of Canada. The entire region of Vancouver has about 2.5 million people, with the city having a little over 500,000. Incredibly, I'm visiting one of the most livable cities in the world, something which Vancouver is famous for. Minorities are quite the majority in many ways, and the ability of all peoples to live without fuss is something that is common to the Canadian way of life for the most part. The city, like most of the US and the Canadian regions, began as a settlement over 8,000 years ago. The original people are known as the First Nations, a variety of groups who lived in the region. It was the Squamish people who first settled here before the major aspects of a true townland began around 1867. Known originally as Gastown, due to the one tavern in the area owned by a man named Jack Dayton from England, better known as Gassy Jack. It was the British explorer George Vancouver who gave the city its name. Vancouver himself was an explorer who was known to have done much of the work discovering the western regions of modern-day Canada. It was fellow explorer and trader Simon Fraser who brought the first Europeans to the region. In modern times, the city was rebuilt in 1886 after fire engulfed and destroyed most of the area. It was all rebuilt before the city's involvements in the famous gold rushes of different times. The Klondike gold rush of 1898 is perhaps the most famous, and one you'll hear down the line soon when we visit Seattle Gale's GAA on American Thanksgiving Day. In the city today, you will find many things to do and see, starting most likely with one of the biggest parkland areas in all of the North Americas, Stanley Park. Given Vancouver is constantly in the top cities for cleanliness in the world, it's no surprise that Stanley Park is a must-visit for everybody and a firm favourite spot with the locals. A few hours away is the like-named Vancouver Island. This place I would certainly recommend to anybody. Here you can do everything from kayaking under the stars on a clear night near the area of Ucluelet to see the famous goats on a roof. Yes, the Coombs Country Market on the island has in fact created a living space for the goats on the shop roof. Of course, I should mention that the city of Vancouver has its own design scheme of mixing nature and high-rise known as Vancouverism. Part of the plan is to make the city the greenest on earth over the coming years. Film and production are big in Vancouver. Some TV shows and films you may not have known that were shot in the area, or at least partly shot, were the likes of Superman and Lois, Titanic, TV shows House and Pretty Little Liars, and this absolute classic. Famous names from the area include actor and funny man Seth Rogen, Goosebumps and Star Wars star Hayden Christensen, musicians Grimes and Carly Rae Jepsen, and this man.
You may be wondering why the red suit. Well, that's so bad guys can't see me bleed. This guy's got the right idea.
Yes, Mr. Deadpool himself, Ryan Reynolds. On the sporting side, the city of Vancouver keeps in with the major activities common across the country. In 2010, the city hosted the Winter Olympics and Paralympics. Today the Rogers Arena is home of most of the major sporting events, but it is the BC Place Stadium that hosts the pro football team of the city, the BC Lions. Founded in 1954, the club has won the finals of the Canada Football League 6 times, lifting the Grey Cup most recently in 2011. The Vancouver Canucks are the NHL team of choice in the city since their inception in 1970, and to say they take it seriously is perhaps an understatement. In 1994, the Canucks lost to the New York Rangers in the Stanley Cup final, leading to riots in the city, not seen since Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones caused similar ones 22 years before. Thankfully nobody died, but one man was left with permanent injuries. The cost of fixing was over $1 million at the time. Incredibly, it would happen again when the team lost to the Boston Bruins in 2011. This time more than 300 people were prosecuted, and 4 people were critically injured. Those who were fans of Placebo should check out their album cover for the 2016 album A Place for Us to Dream. The photo is known as the Kissing Couple, and shows Alexandra Thomas and Scott Jones embracing mid-riot on the ground, although the true story of the photo is apparently slightly different. It's still a great photo. Other pro teams include the lacrosse side the Warriors, the cricket side the Knights, and the soccer team the Whitecaps, who boasted the name of Scottish international Kenny Miller in their squad when I was there. In recent times, they were also responsible for unleashing Bayern Munich pace merchant Alphonso Davies to the world too, as he was their player of the year in 2018. In terms of the GAA, the city currently has clubs named Air Rogue Vancouver, ISSC, Fraser Valley Gales, JP Ryan's, Cuchulainn and Patrick's Club, St Finian's. The Western Championship are extremely competitive and have the benefits of having clubs in many cities and areas who produce teams for both the social element and the on-field battles. St Finnian started out as a breakaway of the Irish Sporting and Social Club, ISSC, and had an incredible 60 at their first training session. Unfortunately, the fairy tale year 1 didn't finish the way they wanted, as they lost out narrowly to Fraser Valley Gales in the decider. But the juniors did win the Vancouver Championship, and today they also boast perhaps the best name of any sponsor going. Local construction recruitment firm A Few Good Lads adorn the incredible strip of maroon that the club possesses. Can't beat a good maroon jersey, of course. And so let's meet one of the good lads. I'll let this man tell you more about it all though. Who better to ask than a man who has played in goals for Fermanagh? So let's meet the gentleman himself, former Fermanagh shot stopper and Man United fan also, Patrick Quayle, and find out all about St Finian's GAA in Vancouver. Hey Patrick.
Jason, how are you?
Not too bad, how are things?
Grand, man, grand.
How's all in Vancouver?
100%. We're all a bit tired this morning, Jason. We were out doing the darkness into light there this morning. So.
Oh yeah. How did that go for you?
Grand, yeah. There was a really good turnout.
Oh, the top is nice though, in fairness.
Yeah, it's not too bad now. The club gear is definitely one of the nicer ones out there.
Yeah. And what brought you out to Vancouver? How long are you out there?
I'm out here now actually 7 years at the end of May. So
Right.
we came here in May of 2014. So yeah, it's like we only came out here for maybe a year, 2 max. And fell in love with the place. We're married now and have 2 kids. So we're settled, so we've both really good professional jobs and everything. So yes, doesn't look like we're moving home soon, but it is on the cards. I think it is on the cards.
You do have an umbrella over your head protecting you from the sun, so there's no reason to come home, to be honest. So.
I know. I up there in case there's a bit of glare. It's a bit of sunshine here.
No, it's not too bad. Is that a Seahawks hat you've on, or what is it?
Yeah, Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, are you a fan or?
Yeah. I would watch it because it would be the first February we were here. So February 2015, the Seahawks got into the Super Bowl, and because Vancouver and Seattle are very close together, it's the Vancouverites just take over the Seahawks as one of their own, So the place was positive, and of course ever since then, because like the only game I would have watched in NFL back home would have been the Super Bowl, you
Yeah.
know. But kind of religiously watch the Seahawks now every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever
Yeah.
day they're on.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I know one of my mates is a massive Seahawks fan. That's why I spotted I'm learning the game very slowly. I took up Denver Broncos as my team because it was the first stadium in America that I was ever sort of outside, and I said they'll do fine. Now, to be honest, I know feck all about the game, but
Yeah.
I do like watching it. In fairness, I haven't quite grasped the entire all the rules and everything. I usually ruin the game for people by texting and go, why was that a penalty, or why is that given? So I'm one of those, gobshites that nobody likes to have in the room.
Exactly, but hey, it's weird, like, because there are so many rules in it. Like it would, unless you were brought up with it, like it would be a bit daunting to try and find out what the hell was going on. Like,
yeah, they are so close. Like, because I remember we got the bus from Vancouver to Seattle. Like, it was brilliant. Yeah, they're literally like stone's throw apart.
Like, I think the bus is like what, 4 hours, I think.
Yeah,
and then if you're driving in a car, like depending on how busy the border crossing was, I'd say you'd get down there in probably 2 in a car. So pretty close. Like,
see, it's quicker than getting from Mullingar to Dublin sometimes.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say it.
Yeah. And what was your footballing back home before you went out?
Footballing back home, yeah, it was pretty. Now, very, very small little village is my club back home in Fermanagh, St Patrick's, Donagh. We've a senior team and a junior team, and good underage teams always. For the size of the place that we're from, we always had a really good crop of players, like, all the time.
Yeah.
And we kind of had this golden generation there, but 10 years ago, kind of lasted for about, I'd say, 6 or 7 years. We had typically a lot of county boys as well. And then in 2008, we won our first senior championship in Fermanagh, which was amazing, like an absolute, like, I still talk about it to this day. It's like one of the best in life,
Nice.
And it sticks with you, like, you'll never forget it. Forget it. And I think that's so great, because, like, it's an amateur organization. You don't get paid for it. You do it for the love of it, and it's and you do it for days like that. And even if you only get one of them in your life, it doesn't bother me. I've experienced. Once is enough. It's grand.
Yeah, it's one more than a lot of people might get in their lifetime as well. So,
no, you have to feel very lucky, like, because especially with the whole history of the club, that you're that team from 2008 can now be kind of forever immortalized, which is fantastic part of it, and it's you'll never be forgotten, I suppose. But I think the memories is way better than anything else. Like, if somebody come up to me now and says that you could relive that day, geez, I'd bite their hand off, like, from start to finish.
That's brilliant.
Fantastic now, but the back home is good. Like, Fermanagh is not really known for its prowess on the football pitch, like, but we still have good quality, good clubs and everything. The standard's really high, and I think the club scene is only getting better and better, because like, I do still keep in touch with a few boys back home, and always keep an eye on the scores and everything from the other clubs. So it's they're going well, like, and the good thing about it is that, like, Derrygonnelly was kind of had like its domination there period for a while. They won 5 senior titles in a row, and Ederney, they actually won their first title there last year, the first in like 57 years, I think it was. So it's good to see that happening, there's good changes going on back home, which is great to see. Yeah,
COVID brought out some bizarre results, I think, all over the country anyway. So getting the club to win their first, was probably a big one, I suppose, for you. What was the county experience like then?
Yeah, county experience was good. Now, it's a completely different kettle of fish. Like, it's you go in from a kind of not, I wouldn't say a slack club feel, but like definitely county feel. You go in, and I remember the first time I was on the county under 21 team at the time, and I got called up due to an injury to Chris Breen by Malachy O'Rourke. And I remember the under-21 manager telling me that Malachy wanted me to train with the seniors there tonight instead of the under-21s. And I was like, Jesus, like a bit of a step up, like after winning the senior title with my club back home. It's kind of, a really good period, of footballing, out personally. You go in and you just like you're sitting in the dressing room with full of boys that you would have looked up to, or your own club mates there as well, and you're getting the wink or the nod, and it's grand. And I remember the first game that I was involved with was it was a National League game, actually, a Division 2 game, I think, against Division 1 game against Monaghan. And that was great to see, the whole the match day setup, how things operated, and you'd go to the hotel in the morning. It was a completely professional feel, you'd go to the Manor House Hotel down there in Enniskillen.
Your club didn't bring you to hotels, no? That's terrible.
I know, yeah. But you'd go and you'd meet at the hotel, you'd have a bit of a breakfast, and you'd get the bus. You'd drive past Brewster Park, where you're going to be playing in a couple of hours, go to the hotel and then drive back. But
different world.
It's a completely different world, completely different world, and it's only got more professional, since back then. That was 10 years ago now, over 10 years. So it's bordering on full on professional. The commitment that them boys are doing now is outrageous. You'd hear boys doing between work and GAA, there's probably 96 hours, and they're committing them. Boys doing long distances, traveling back to their counties. Boys working in Dublin, and it's mad.
Is there you haven't had any fans breaking into Brewster Park, setting up placards against the owners of Fermanagh or anything yet? No. Finny United fan.
No, none whatsoever. If there was, it'd be something just give us an Ulster title. We've worked enough. I think that's once we get that monkey off our back, maybe you'll start to see boys invading pitches and fields and all. You get the tape, want it again, but no, it would be great to see. It's actually very funny you brought that up, because the boys that I was out walking this morning with for the Darkness into Light walk, a couple other Fermanagh boys, I have to give them a shout out as well. They told me Kieran McGoldrick and Niall Maguire, the boys Skinner. He actually ran he ran from Burnaby, which is about 11k.
Okay.
Daisy got up at 2:30, but it was 3:00 and then he ran in. So I just thought I'd get that shout out for him.
Okay.
He'd be devastated. We were just saying it there this morning that it'd be great to see Fermanagh win an Ulster title, and by grown men saying that they'd be bawling their eyes out, saying that if they could witness it.
We had that here. We had that here in Westmeath in 2004. We had many a grown man bawling their eyes out. So
I'd say so. It must be some buzz.
It'd be nice if it just wasn't once in a lifetime, though, because a couple of years' time we'll be celebrating the 20th anniversary of that.
Oh yeah, that's right. My goodness. Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be nice to have another one.
It would be. Yeah. It would be. But unfortunately, Dublin's in your province.
Yeah, which doesn't really help too much. Although, I don't know if we need to get past our first hurdle and our second hurdle before we start even considering Dublin these days. So, but when you went out actually to Vancouver, what was the Irish setup like?
Back in 2014, Jason, to be honest, there was quite a few Irish about, and I think we were only here 3 days, and I had already went to training with the ISSC. They're the first and longest GAA club here in Vancouver.
Yeah, I've heard them. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're a big outfit, and the actual participation numbers back then wasn't high at all.
Okay.
The first training I went to, there was only 9 or 10 at it, and hopefully I wouldn't be victimized if I said that there was a few of the older lads there. There wasn't really that. I was probably the youngest lad there at 20, 25, 26. So, but yeah, like I've seen it grow. Like in 2014, Fraser Valley Gales then formed another club, so they were just getting their feet off the ground then in that regard. Then 2 years later, Aerogue, Vancouver, they popped up. They were a breakaway club from the ISSC as well. A few of the old lads from the ISSC, they broke off and made a club of their own, which was very good to see. Like, at the end of the day, you want more competition. You don't want playing against yourselves like all the time, and which is what it was. Like, the boys would be making a tournament against themselves like all summer, and you're thinking to yourself, you're like, you couldn't get up for that.
Yes, we can't lose.
Yeah, exactly. You can't lose. Like, you go up against your mates in the final and be like, sure, like, yous win, we'll win, so it doesn't really matter. But the participation levels have steadily grown. But then we've noticed since 2018, Jason, the place has just exploded, absolutely exploded. And I don't know whether it was for one particular reason, or it was just like the new generation of people from Ireland, the younger generation, they just want to travel more, or just come to Canada, because I think Australia was the big thing. Australia was the big thing from like 2010 till about 2014, 2015, and then Australia kind of cooled off, and now it's Canada. Even Toronto. Toronto's full of Irish, full to the Irish. Good friends there that have left here and went to Toronto, and a few people from Fermanagh that I know are in Toronto. So, and then the Fermanagh participation levels here are increasing too, which is good, because it's always nice to hear a familiar accent back here. But
is the Westmeath levels increasing at all? I know one lad who's out there. So
Westmeath, I think the one lad I know from Westmeath would be Niall O'Carroll, goalkeeper. He would have been the goalkeeper with myself at ISSC. I believe he's Westmeath. I hope I haven't got that wrong now on record. Been playing with him for quite a few years, so I should know that. Like there's people from all over. There's Cork has a really big number of lads here as well. The Dubs
do you let the Cavan and Monaghan lads in, or do you just put them to one side? Or
oh no, they're allowed in. They're allowed in, but sure, like, you'd wonder how they got here with being so tight.
Who let them in the first place? It's like us letting Meath lads across the border here. We're wondering what the hell we're doing letting them in. So
yeah. Oh no, there's definitely good banter now. When you hear a boy coming down to training and you're asking him where he's from, there's always something to be said, like, no matter where you're from.
Has to be done, exactly. Yeah. Did you have any internationals?
Ourselves, no, not right now. But we were open to it. Like, it's we actually would love it. Like, I do think actually on the ladies team we do have a couple of Canadian girls wanting to try it, which is fantastic. And I think what'll happen is if our ladies teams grow like that, and the Canadian participation level increases, you'll end up seeing like trends of their partners wanting to join in as well. They'll come up through the men's teams as well. Get their bearings and everything with the game. So yeah, we'd love it. Like, we're very proud of the game, like, and there's a big residential community over there, like a private community. You go out there, you can buy a house there. It's not solely for students. So like, people would be walking by with their kids, and they'd be asking fellas in between drills, what's this game like? This looks fantastic. And I actually remember one moment from last year. There was a guy out walking his dog, and he actually made his dog sit beside him on the bench, and watched the whole game. And at the end of the game, when we blew the whistle at the cool down, he got up and he clapped.
Wow.
So he was just like, he was in awe of the game. And now these are by, now you can imagine if it was a county setup he was looking at, he probably would have fell off. So like if he was saying that for our standard, there's something to be said. But we love that. Like it's great. And if we could get more international players playing, at the end of the day we're in Canada, so like we have to be accommodating. So and I think that's one of the values of the club as well, is that like we're all inclusive. So it would be great. It would be great if we got some internationally involved with the club in that regard.
Yeah. So all inclusive, except for Monaghan and Cavan. They've just put that out there as well. So yeah,
they have to pay the toll,
and they won't pay that either.
And you see, they won't pay it. So like it takes the guilt away from us,
Yeah. I should apologize to the girls from Chris or Loaf, they're listening, who were on the podcast a few weeks back. I'm sorry, ladies. I'm just saying what has to be said, I should ask as well, actually, just since the jersey and stuff is there, ask all the clubs, how are you fixed for sponsorship? Is it a bit easier in like a big city like Vancouver?
It can be. I guess it's like everywhere else. It's who you know. It's a lot about connections and stuff. Are the founding members of the club, like who were the committee last year? We all got together and we kind of decided like how would we be able to pitch the club to somebody to throw a few grand in, so we kind of came up with this scheme. Like it was a different level scheme, and this is what you got for this amount, and this is all that sort of stuff. So we approached a few ones. We approached our senior team sponsors is called A Few Good Lads. Which is pretty awesome. Like they're a construction recruitment firm. The owners are a lad from Cork and a lad from Sheffield in England. Nice. So it was a great mix, and they're both brilliant lads, Shane and Matt. So they came in. We met them one night down in Mahoney's there by the water at Falls Creek for a few. Like we only said we'd go for one. I think we ended up getting about 6 or 7 pints in, and they had a look. They said, the old usual stuff. Sure, we'll take it away and have a look at it. We'll get back to you. And sure, in a day's time, they couldn't wait to get involved, which was fantastic for us because it helps like get the club off the ground. That main hurdle of getting a senior sponsor is fantastic, and you kind of nail down. Okay, there's the set of jerseys. We're not going to go out in topless. We're not going to be skinned. So that was great. And then Owen Toomey, the vice chairperson here, his company sponsored the junior team, PML. So that was great as well. We went retro with that one, with a bit of a hoop feel. The junior look class as well. I must send you a picture of that. But and then we have Express Recruitment as well for our ladies sponsors. Again, another committee member, Connor Doyle, knew a lady from that firm and approached her because her company kind of deals with ladies coming in that looking for office admin work, which would have been a good fit for new ladies joining the team, because like we could have put her in touch with Express Recruitment, which could help with employment. So we kind of had a motive against any decision that we were doing. We kind of wanted it to be, valuable to the club and valuable to our members as well. So makes sense. That was fantastic. So, actually we were pretty lucky in that regard, that we got the 3 sponsors who kind of signed up pretty quick. From Echo, I'd say it was all kind of finalized by mid-January, and then the real work with sending over the rep here from O'Neill's, per James, about 100 different emails about saying, can you do this, can you do that with the jersey, can you do this? But it was actually, we got very lucky in that regard.
It's good, I suppose, in in many ways, because I've had clubs who've come on already. Like I just think of the ladies out in Fianna in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. Like, basically their tagline was, we need balls. It was essentially their tagline. So yeah,
Right.
it's having the sponsor, I suppose.
Wow.
Yeah, it makes all the difference. So
Yeah, geez, yeah, no, definitely we were super lucky now in that regard. So
yeah.
we can't complain, and they're all on board again for this year, which is fantastic.
No, happy days, yeah. When you mentioned
Yeah.
Mahoney's as well, is that the go-to after games to drown the sorrows or celebrate?
It wouldn't have been, but that night it was a really nice day, and now I say it was a really nice day. It's by the water, and we ended up sitting inside. So like,
Yeah,
but like Irish, we have to be thick about the thing.
yeah,
But the go to for us, like we got a pub sponsor as well, for going in after games and having our startup meetings and everything for new members to come down and sign a waiver and all that sort of crack. So that was the Dublin Gate.
okay.
I think yourself was in Whistler, so you were probably at the
Yeah.
Whistler pub.
Yeah,
So they down here in the Lower Mainland as well, just down by Main and Terminal. So we approached them. We went in and pitched to them like what we could offer and how many members we could bring in and what we could bring in money wise. And yeah, they took us on. They sponsored us. We had some good nights in there, and of course the pandemic hit.
yeah.
It actually closed on March 16th.
Oh, really?
Last year, a day before Paddy's Day, which is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it hasn't opened since. It's foreclosed, so that location's gone.
That's a pity. You say down beside Main and Terminal. Is that where the cruise boats go?
No,
No.
Terminal. It would be where the Terminal SkyTrain station. It'd be down by Science World.
Oh yeah. No, I was just Terminal. I thought because I remember getting on the cruise ship to Alaska. No, that was my way out of Vancouver the first time I went out and then came back again. So yeah,
Wow,
I thought that.
Canada Place.
Yeah, that's
Canada
right.
Place.
Yeah. I thought when I
Yeah.
heard terminal, I kind of thought maybe it's the boat terminal. So,
Yeah.
I've got strange memories of Vancouver. I won't lie. Like it was amazing. But
Mm-hmm.
my kind of standout memory, the day that we were heading to we were going up to Alaska on the cruise ship. This is the most bizarre one ever. But the main actor guy from that TV show Glee,
Oh yeah,
Corey
yeah.
Monteith, I think was his name. He died in the hotel right across the street from where we were staying, and it was like this chaos and news teams. And I was like, "We're only going to Alaska, lads. Like, you don't have to send out the news crew to us, you know." But yeah, it turned out after we got on the boat, then we heard that it was him that was in the hotel and he had died. So I was like, I can
Right.
still draw a picture of where I was, like, and I could draw you the hotel and everything. It's very weird. It's surreal that's kind of my standout memory of Vancouver, really, which is
Yeah.
just kind of the reason I have to go back again, just to make
Exactly.
sure that I didn't miss any of it the first time. Yeah.
You'd have to come out and bring your boots and come to a training session with us.
Yeah, I probably, if you actually saw me as opposed to just on the camera, like I probably run about, I'd say somewhere between 8 and 10 meters, and I'd probably collapse and die. But
Yeah. No, not at all. Not at all. We'll have you kicking balls, spraying it all over the place in no time.
I'll bring my brother. My brother's won the county title here, so I'll bring him instead. He might be more used to it, to be honest. So, I have to ask as well. I know there's a US games. Is there a Canadian games or anything? Have the teams expanded enough to play in that?
Yeah. So the North American Championships is always held in the United States, and that's where the clubs from here would have went, and that would have been the big trip away.
Yeah.
And that's the one that you would look forward to because it's a 3 or 4 day weekend, and you get to see it's great crack. So Canada GAA had brought in, again, just before the pandemic hit, I think it was like January or February, they had announced that they were doing an all Canadian GAA championship as well, which was going to be held in Toronto every September, which was there to rival basically the North Americans in the US. So that unfortunately, fell victim to the pandemic last year, and there about I think a month or so ago, maybe 6 weeks, they announced again that of course they weren't going ahead with it because Ontario has been absolutely devoured by that virus. Like it's really bad, and like I think at the peak they were getting like thousands of cases a day, and unfortunately people were dying in large amounts too. So, I think having clubs from all over the country come in and bring with it the risk of the virus. It would never have been going ahead. So unfortunately for Canada GAA, it's like its pinnacle championship hasn't been able to even start yet. But it's something to look forward to, because again, it's a trip to Toronto. The distance between Vancouver and Toronto, you might as well be going home. You might need a day or two to get over the jet lag.
I remember that flying. I remember flying to Vancouver right from London, and just going, oh geez, look, we're over Canada. Like there's Newfoundland or whatever, and it was like, we're about halfway there, if even halfway there. Like, couldn't believe how wide it was. Like until you're flying over, really. Yeah,
it's absolutely definitely maybe next year. We'll get playing in it. The pandemic is kind of it's screwing with my football career. The clock's ticking on me. Like I'm 33 now, so I'd like to have the knees last another while and get through another couple of seasons before I have to hang them up. But
not too bad. I'm 34 and a bit, and I hung up my boots a long time ago. So
oh god, yeah, no, it's like even last year, Jason, like the way that everything just shut down, I was thinking to myself, Christ, like if this is what it is to be retired from football and not having it, I don't I'll be playing into myself.
You weren't even get the testimonial or anything if the pandemic stayed along, were you?
I know. It'd be like, right, that's it. Good luck. We're closing the dressing rooms and not coming back. But
you want a Peter Schmeichel-esque, testimonial, big send off, 60,000 people type thing.
Yeah, sure. Look, you'd expect it, and you'd get one person show up.
Do you know what? If you have one, I'll definitely show up. I'll make it my mission. I'll turn up. So don't worry. I'll definitely be there.
Bring the camera and the microphone and all. Make it a big spectacle.
I will. Yeah, we'll broadcast it live to whatever one other person decides to watch it online. So, I have to ask as well. I suppose I know the Canadian games and all that are cancelled, but in the actual playing days pre-COVID, who were the main? Were Vancouver, Éire Óg the main rivals, or who was it? Who is it?
Well, I suppose when all of us were playing with the ISSC, the main rivals would have been Fraser Valley, and of course we broke away from the ISSC and formed St Finnian. So last year we were able to get a few games played. We were actually able to get a Vancouver championship played, albeit off a smaller scale. So we kind of skipped the league format of the championship and just went into a semi-final, kind of like one game and you're out type thing.
No harm in that. No harm in that. Westmeath are after getting hockeyed by Galway here today in the league, so I'm quite happy to cancel the league at this stage.
I know, it's like you think a league structure and a championship structure is all grand and dandy until your team's out and let's throw in the towel now. But last year now with a lot of us coming from the ISSC, we kind of had that rivalry born just out of that with the ISSC. So we were mad to get playing them, and we were mad to get beating them, obviously. So we did meet them. In fact, we met them in the semi-final of the championship, and it actually ended a draw after 60 minutes, 1-9 apiece, and it just went straight to penalties, and then we won on penalties. So thankfully we scored more than them, and it was great. Like, it was a great finish. There's a few videos floating about.
Definitely take those if they're going.
I may send some on to you, but it was cracking. But the thing with it is that, like, when we formed the club, it was never down to like, it was never, it's just us, screw everyone else, it's just us. We're not that type of club. Like, we don't want it to ever get like that. So we were still respectful and everything, and because at the end of the day, you're playing against your mates. Like, I played with the ISSC for 6 years, so I know a lot of boys there, and still very good friends with them. So, like, there's definitely no malice from our end. But in saying that, you have moved away, you have made a club off Europe, and there is just that natural rivalry that's just born out of that, like just overnight, But yeah, it was good to get one over on them, especially. And then we played Fraser Valley then in the final of the Vancouver Championship, and unfortunately we got beat by 2 points. But like, for a club that had just been formed, had just like the 15 on the field for the first time, we gelled really well together. We played some great football, and only to get beat by two points by a club that was already, well
established,
like a well-established club for 8 years already at that point. That's very good. Like, so I think we're heading in the right direction, which is fantastic.
Yeah, definitely sounds very, very promising. When you said as well, you were like keeping in touch kind of with the lads and stuff at home. Do you still watch the Sunday game and all that, or how does it work for you time wise?
Oh, absolutely. Like, how I would do it is the time difference actually kind of suits us over here with being 8 hours behind.
Yeah.
A lot of throw-ins are at 5 a.m, 7 and 9. And then you usually have like maybe a Saturday night game at home, which is 7 p.m, which is 11 a.m. here. Like, it actually works perfect with me. Like, I have 2 small children, and the only one that would maybe the 9 a.m. one and the 11 a.m. one, if I don't get them outside, they're absolutely tearing the walls down. So the early throw-ins are a gift to me, like, because you can sit there, you can watch it on GAA Go. I think GAA Go is an absolutely fantastic outlet for anyone that's living abroad. I know some people say it's expensive or whatever, but like, at the end of the day, you're basically getting the same service as somebody sitting at home on the couch. The spot on. The streams are really good, and they're accurate, and there's no lagging or anything like that there. So that's how I would keep up with everything. I just watch everything through GAA Go. Obviously I keep an eye on Twitter and stuff, like, and for some reason, Jason, they don't put Fermanagh games on all the time, and I don't know why. So I kind of have to keep an eye on Twitter, for that sort of thing.
Yeah, we've some issues with that down in Westmeath. Although we were impressed, in fairness, today to get the first like GAA game since COVID, back today, and we actually scored the first point of the post-COVID era, which is nice. I really wanted the referee to blow up after the first score, but unfortunately Galway decided they weren't having it and knocked 5:34 past us here in Mullingar today, which is nice. So yeah,
Mike.
Yeah, you're better off not watching the highlights of that. It's a lot easier if you don't. So
good.
You'll have to get Fermanagh TV or something onto it. Westmeath TV, in fairness to them now, did a cracking job during the COVID of showing the club matches. It was actually brilliant. So yeah, if they kept the county games going on it as well, that would be ideal. But of course, I think the rights are fairly sewn up to those games by now. So
that's true.
I'll ask. I asked this to every club. There's a few questions I asked every club, and then there's a few I can ask you actually that I haven't asked many, because obviously not everyone who's come on played for their county, kind of that kind of thing. So some of the questions are kind of like, maybe it's easier if I don't ask them, like about Marty Morrissey and stuff. So, but I can ask you a lot of these, so it'll suit. But I ask every club who their stereotypical Irish lunatic is at their club, because every club in the world has one.
There is one. It's funny, like, again, talking to the boys this morning on the walk, we actually pinpointed it. We were like, who is our club lunatic? And again, he'll probably go mad for me naming him. That's but his name is Cal. He's a man from Kerry, and he's the first man at training because he shows up about an hour before and does about 14,000 laps. He's just one of them by that just doesn't know when to stop. Like, he's mad after a few cans, and you're just guaranteed an absolute reckless night with him. So put it into this context, Jason, right? Everyone this morning went for a nice wee, jog or we run or we walk there this morning, just from a beach to beach here to watch the sunrise. Kelvin, for darkness into light, ended up hiking up the snow in Mount Seymour to the top and watching through his Instagram videos, like not prepared, not a snowshoe about the place, just tights and a pair of shorts, and away up he goes, and straight into the fog on top of the mountain. So that's the kind of lunatic we're talking about. So
okay, he fits the bill anyway. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he does for sure. I'm sure. I'm sure I'm probably letting another few boys off the hook by saying that, but yeah, definitely Calvin stands out.
That's good. Yeah. What's he like on the pitch then?
An absolute machine. A machine.
Okay.
He was like, he had just joined the club last year, obviously with us only being formed and everything, and like I hadn't known him before. I think he was just here in the country not long as well. But my God, like I know it's an old cliche, the boy covering every blade of grass, but he did like in both those games, like he didn't stop. And you need someone like that. You need somebody to like keep you going like that, and that doesn't stop and everything. So like I can't fault him on the pitch, but an absolute maniac off it.
So he's the Mick O'Dwyer of Vancouver then, essentially.
That's it. Oh, he loved Mick O'Dwyer training sessions back in the day. He'd been eating them up.
Yeah, I remember I had Johnny Doyle on there a few weeks ago, and I remember him, he was telling me about Mick O'Dwyer training sessions, all right. And I remember seeing a few clips and stuff online. They looked horrendous. Like he used to only, run up and down the Curragh, like away from me. Like the only thing that run up and down the Curragh is whatever horse I'm putting my money on, like a Paddy Power. Like I don't care about anyone else running up and down it. Yeah, it's what are your training sessions like actually, now that I mention it?
The training sessions are actually not too bad. They're last year we kind of had Connor Doyle do a lot of them, which was great. He's our fitness fella. So it was all honestly, it was all ball work, which was great. You got a lot more buy-in from that. But like it was all like tough drills with the ball. Like there was a lot of running involved. There was a lot of tackling. For the first few training sessions that we were allowed back, it was non-contact, which kind of hindered it a little bit, because the health officer here kind of just was like, you can train, but just don't be mixing or in close contact. So once we were able to do close contact and then get into games, we kind of just did all kind of game preparation drills, which kind of helped then for the championship. But I actually remember the training session. I think it was the Wednesday before the championship final, and just lads just started to go down like flies, like boys going down with like tight hamstrings and boys going over on their ankles, and even myself, I don't know what I did in the warm up, but I completely I must have done something to me back. It just started to spasm, and I'm thinking, oh Christ. So they all started to fall like flies. So I was like telling Connor, stop. And Connor was just laughing, So, but it wasn't even that hard of a training session. That's why. So like he was laughing at me because like, what are you talking about? Like it's nothing. But yeah, the training sessions are great. And like we've been starved of football. Like the last time Finian's was on a pitch was September 19th last year.
All right.
So that's
a long time ago now.
So that would have been the last time now, and we haven't got together actually as a full unit since then. Few of us meet up here and there, but like COVID kind of took its hold on BC here over the winter. And the last couple of months, like we were getting over 1,000 cases a day there, about 2 or 3 weeks. So they definitely tightened the ship a wee bit there, and we're just hoping now that after May 25th that the restrictions can kind of loosen, So we'll what the story is after that.
Yeah, that's good, Jeff. No, it sounds like you're pretty well established club. In fairness, I have to ask as well, actually, just out of curiosity, where the St Finnian name comes from. Do you know?
So I'll tell you a little bit of a backstory from the actual conversation of how the club came about, and I hope I'm not skewering it for Oisín Doyle. Oisín Doyle and Owen Toomey, our chairperson and vice chairperson, were walking the seawall, I think, over in North Van, and over a coffee they decided that like we were getting way too high numbers at ISSC. The city needed another club. And I think just from then the idea was born, and then they approached another few lads that wanted to help with forming the club. St Finian's was something that came about from both Oisín and Owen, I believe. Don't know the full story and why it was chosen, but just for the sake of this podcast, I'm going to say Owen's middle name is Finian. So I think it's
Wow.
a complete and utter vanity project for Owen Toomey. So, and in no way is he a saint. So it could be ironic as well. But no,
that's the story we'll stick with. So yeah.
Yeah, we'll stick with that. We'll stick with that.
I like that one. Yeah, that's probably the best explanation or reasoning for naming a club that I've come across in all the clubs so far on the list here beside me. I think that's my favorite backstory of how the club got it. Yeah, regardless of whether it's true or not, I don't really care. I'm going to stick with that one. I like that one definitely. Yeah. The last few questions I have are they're kind of quick fire in inverted commas. They're not really. You don't have to answer that fast. But is there a karaoke song of choice that the club has on a night out?
Karaoke song. Not really. I know Sean Southgate sang a lot when the boys are together. So let's go with Sean South.
Okay, we'll take that one. So definitely it. Would you be more of a Marty Morrissey or Des Cahill fan?
Oh, I'm definitely Marty Morrissey.
Marty Party. Yeah, a lot of people are for Marty. I've had a few for Des, in fairness though. This one could be with St Finian's or back home with Fermanagh or St Patrick's. Who's the toughest team you've ever played against in your life?
Oh, that has to be Crossmaglen Rangers, Armagh.
When did you come up against them?
We played them in the Ulster Club Championship back in 2008. It was a really dreary, wet winter's day in November, and they were just a serious outfit, like from start to finish. It was like a real professional performance from them. Like they beat us 13-6 that day, so it wasn't a hiding.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah,
everything they did was just like kind of flawless. Like they weren't panicking, they weren't doing anything like out of the ordinary. They were just going about their business, just getting the ball, popping it over the bar, hitting it to Jamie Clark or Oisín McConville, and I was just kicking the ball out, unfortunately. So
Jamie Clark is like you at the moment. He's living a life out abroad. He's in, I think, France or somewhere at the moment. I always see his Instagram full of pictures
that's right.
somewhere else. Yeah,
Norris, I think, and he's decided to opt out of the Armagh setup now for this year. So I guess that's another life too. Like if you're that good as Jamie Clark, you can actually tell the manager whether you want to play or not. So that's definitely a different life. So
you didn't have that luxury of Malachy O'Rourke, no?
I didn't know. And I was like a child on Christmas morning when Malachy would have even spoke to me, and never mind called me up. So no, definitely not.
So you never know. You're not finished yet. I wouldn't rule out just yet. We won't rule it out. Who would you, if you gave St Finian's Vancouver a chance to take on a county team back in Ireland, who would you most like a shot at?
Wicklow.
No. You're the second person that said Wicklow. Are Wicklow really that bad?
No, Oisín Doyle, our chairperson, is from Wicklow, and
okay, that's okay. That's all right.
I want to put him in an awkward position because I know he loves the club and he loves Wicklow. So it's time to choose sides, Oisín. So
tell him to go back and listen to episode 4 of the podcast with Davy Burke, his favorite manager in the world, I'm sure. So,
I'd say so. Yeah, I must get him on to you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Davy was sound now, in fairness. I won't lie. The other one then, I have to go with ask you the GAA famous question, since you would have plenty of experience. Hats, flags, scarves, or headbands? You can choose one.
It has to, for me, it has to be a hat, because
it's on your head.
A hat to me for county teams is 2004 when Fermanagh got to the All Ireland semi-final. That whole run, like in 2004. And like, I genuinely think I slept in the green and white hat that summer. So that's what I think of when I hear that phrase.
Yeah, you were the other side of the championship that year, I think, because we lost to Derry after winning Leinster, we got bet by Paddy Bradley and co. And I think you were the other. Who did you lose to in the end? You were the other side, I think.
Yeah, we lost to Mayo in the semi-final, and I think was it Mayo? No, Tyrone, or Mayo beat Tyrone, and that was on the other side in the other quarter-final when we beat Armagh in the quarter-final.
Okay. Yeah,
Like
I remember we got beaten by Derry. I remember there were quite a few of the teams from Ulster were still left, I think, at the time. We were never really, we didn't stand much of a chance, really. We were out of our depth, I think, at that stage. But yeah, I do remember you guys were on the other side, I think, of the draw from us anyway.
Yeah, we definitely made things hard on ourselves that year. I think it was we beat Donegal in Clonus, and then we beat Meath in Brewster Park, and then we beat Cork in Croke Park, and then it was Armagh, and then we played Mayo twice because we drew the first semi-final 8 points apiece in the first semi-finals. Yeah, no, like definitely a hat. Like, as I say, I didn't take it off that whole summer. It was fantastic.
Nice.
Fantastic.
I like that one, yeah. Have you got a favourite Father Ted episode?
Yes, I do, with Father Stack and him being electrocuted with the golf club.
Love it. Okay.
To me, Father Stack is probably what I'm going to be like when I'm a bit older. Just leave me alone.
Is that no, there's two of them. Father Fintan Stack is the lad played by Brendan Grace. Father Stone, I think, is who you're on about, is it?
Father Stone, that's him. That is.
Yeah.
Yes.
You just want to be Father Stone sitting on the couch and not speak a word for 24 hours.
Exactly. And then just laid up in bed with the golf club just glued to the hand. Just.
I take that now. I take a golf club in my hand now. I can't wait till Monday when I get to play again for the first time in God knows how long.
God.
Yeah.
The lads that I field with golf clubs here.
Oh, I can't wait for it now. I am going to throw you on the spot slightly here, but the last question, then there's a few Canadian themed ones that I tried special themed ones to all the clubs. But the last one that put you on the spot, who is the greatest GAA player ever in your lifetime?
Oh, that's a tough one now.
Now you can say yourself, obviously.
Oh God, I'd say this podcast would be laughed straight off the air if I said that. No, geez, it's hard to overlook the Gooch. Like, the Gooch was unbelievable. Like, loved watching Kerry, basically for Colin Cooper, and just the way that he was on the field, like how he would be able to like get in positions to score goals the way he did, and score points. Like, yeah, it would. I think the only person that would match him would be Cluxton, because I'm a goalkeeper myself. But I think Colin Cooper kind of edges it for me because he was just fantastic to watch. Okay,
yeah, take that one definitely. Yeah, good goalkeeper as well. I was, my position soccer actually, was saying to you before, as a goalkeeper as well, which is funny. Never made it as a GAA goalie. I'm afraid I was, apart from at national school when I won. I got a medal, I think, from national school. That's about the height of it. So, the last questions then are Canadian themed ones. So you 50-50 choice in them all. Don't worry, it's not a history test or anything. So you'll see how stupid they are in a second. So and then there's one that has no Canadian links whatsoever. It's just one I couldn't resist asking. So the first one then you can choose between going to Whistler or going up the Stairway to Heaven walk in Fermanagh.
Stairway to Heaven.
The mountains, nice. I like that. Yeah,
on a good day.
Oh yeah, not a shitty day. No, sorry, I should have put that in. Yeah, good day only. Yeah. The second one then, Canadian maple syrup or Heinz ketchup.
It has to be ketchup.
Ketchup, okay. Let me see, where am I? Ryan Reynolds, Canadian Ryan Reynolds or Kerry man Michael Fassbender.
Ryan Reynolds.
Okay, take that. I haven't been to this place, but I've looked it up. I'm dying to go to it. Niagara Falls in Canada or Ruga Waterfall in Fermanagh. Is that how it's pronounced?
It's close. Like I can't even pronounce it myself, so I'm not even going to attempt it. But I know exactly what you're talking about. So no, Niagara Falls.
Right. As a primary school teacher, I just went phonics. I just went Ruga. That'll do. I'll just go Ruga. See what happens. Yeah. The next one then, Stanley Park or the Phoenix Park in Dublin.
Stanley Park. Unfortunately, it's just beautiful down there.
Yeah, it is. It's class, in fairness. The next one, few interesting ones here. Canadian legend Michael J. Fox or Tipperary hurling legend Pat Fox?
Pat Fox.
Pat Fox. Okay, it's a great Pat Fox.
Yeah.
Canadian comedian legend Jim Carrey or Kilkenny legend DJ Carey?
DJ Carey. It has to be like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Legend.
This one, now, you'd want to be careful with your answer for this one. So, Canadian superstar in inverted commas Justin Bieber or Mullingar's finest Niall Horan?
Oh gosh, that's like a no-win situation there, Jason. But I'll say Niall Horan.
Good. Okay, you're all right. Good. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, his father lives down the road here, so you'd be hung up fairly quick now if you said otherwise. So, this one then has no Irish link whatsoever, but I just couldn't resist it since you are in the home of ice hockey, as they say. The Vancouver Canucks or the 1992 Mighty Ducks?
The Canucks. The Canucks.
Oh, I would have gone straight for the Mighty Ducks. One of the greatest films ever, I would say.
Yeah, I know that's true. But God love the Canucks. They need all the support they can get at the minute.
We'll take that, so definitely. The second last one is 3 times world darts champion and Canadian John Part or the Fermanagh darts rising legend Brendan Dolan?
Brendan Dolan, by all the way.
Yeah, class act. I loved actually. Saw him once before at the darts already. He was a pretty class act. The last one then is a random one with no Canadian links whatsoever, but I have to ask it. Fermanagh legend Rory Gallagher or Irish music legend Rory Gallagher?
Music legend Rory Gallagher. Class altogether.
Okay, that's going to be interesting. Yeah, I should probably ask you as well, apart from the greatest GAA player ever, who is the greatest Fermanagh player of all time? Are we going down the Barry Owens road or the Rory Gallagher, or go back to?
You see, it's hard to pinpoint somebody because there's so many of them. Like when you have to think back to Peter McGinnity as well. Like he was the first All-Star back in 1982, I think it was. And
okay, I didn't know that.
He was fantastic for Fermanagh and was basically the catalyst to get them to the first Ulster final back in the 80s. And if you saw some of the videos that are on YouTube of him back in the day, like he was just class. He was way ahead of his time. Like, and then of course guys like Barry Owens and Rory Gallagher and Ramey Gallagher was good as well. And you have like Tom Brewster who scored the amazing point then that beat Armagh. Like there's so like Jesus, I can't give you an answer. It's here. And even my own club men like as well, like Eamon Maguire and Shane McDermott, like they were my heroes growing up because they were from the same club.
Yeah.
And then you have Marty McGrath, like Christ. It's a tough one.
We'll just pick it from Fermanagh 15. Although I noticed you didn't mention a goalkeeper by Ronan Gallagher.
Oh, Ronan! I know Ronan. I was lucky enough to be beside Ronan a few times on training fields and whatnot, and he always helped me out. Very nice man. We'll throw Ronan in there too.
You have a solid 15, I think, pick for Fermanagh there. Definitely, you could probably pick the best 15. I'd say.
If they all came back out of retirement, I think Ulster would have been wrapped up by now.
Okay, we'll have to get them out of retirement somehow. So, the last couple of things, Patrick, will ask you just. I say all the clubs who just try and promote their stuff because you might see the South Africa jersey in the background. My one there, like of myself and plenty of people I know around the country probably like to buy gear from clubs abroad and just have something different. So, can your gear and stuff be bought on O'Neill's or?
Yeah, absolutely. Our club web shop is on O'Neills.com, and you can get to it by searching for St Finnian's Vancouver. Okay. There's a whole heap of stuff on it. Like we don't skimp on anything. So everything and anything that you want with our club crest on and O'Neill's on it, you'll get it on there.
Lovely, sounds good. And that's Finian's with 2 N's, isn't it?
Yep, Finian's with 2 N's.
Yeah, because the school I went to here in Mullingar was saying Finian's with 1 N. So just for anyone out there, who can't spell properly, that kind of thing. And the last thing then, is there anyone back home or elsewhere you want to give a shout out to who'll be listening in when this goes out?
Yeah, back home, like just all my my fellow club members back home in St Pat's, Donagh. I haven't been back there in quite a few years, so it'll be nice to give them a shout out. Also, you know, me mother can't do that without you know, mentioning the
You'd bait the shout out if you don't.
Exactly. And yeah, no, I told the boys as well that I was with this morning on the walk that I'd give them a wee shout out. So Dara, Stevie, Skinner, and Dodge. So
Nice.
fair play, lads.
Yeah, and fair play to the man who was it, Rushin, was it, who named the club with his middle name? Yeah.
That would have been Owen. That would have been Owen.
Sorry, Owen. Yeah, okay, Owen. So yeah, I
okay.
have to meet Owen at some stage in life to ask what the hell he's doing, naming a club after himself.
Yeah, it's but sure, then again, he might tell you that that's not a hate about it, like, so.
Yeah, I don't know. He sounds like a lad who would do it. I've never met him, and I've only heard a few lines about him, but he definitely did it. Yeah, that's 100%. There's no question about it. So yeah, Patrick, look, thanks so much for coming on. I'll keep in touch. You definitely on the WhatsApp and stuff. We'll chat Man United in the 3 games this week when we might win the league now that City lost this evening. So no, but I'll definitely keep in touch. I'll give you a shout on WhatsApp, and if there is any photos, videos, and to do with the club that you want to send on, I'll absolutely use them. I'll promote the club any way I can.
Will do. Thanks again, Jason. And
Definitely,
it's a pleasure, and thanks very much for the invite to come on. You know, you're a sound man, and if
Thanks.
you're ever in Vancouver, like, definitely do hit me up now, because I'd love to meet you in person and have a pint with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, fingers crossed when all this is done and dusted, I'll get back there again. I need to go back to Vancouver Island. I've some unfinished business out at Ukilet. I need to. I missed out on some kayaking that I need to do now, so I need to go back there again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Look, Patrick, I'll chat to you after anyway. Thanks so much for coming on.
No problem, Jason. Thanks for having me, mate.
Thanks a million. Slán, take it easy. Bye bye.
Coming up the next day on the Loaf of Bread GAA Global, we cut into our next slice.
Not a lot of points, I would say. I mean, when we went to Malaysia, the All Asian Games, and watching the A's play, the A teams, it's you know, what a difference. I mean, the majority are points. You know, there are a lot of goals in those games, but for us, it's completely opposite. Like, if we get a point, it's rare. It's mostly go for goal, and kind of that's just the way we kind of started off, just 1-2s all the way down the pitch and take a strike and go for goal.
You'll enjoy this. In Shanghai, I think one of our games, I think we scored 4-1 or 5-2, I can't remember. But there was a few old hands there at Shanghai, and they were like, 5-2 is a bloody soccer team playing in this tournament.
I say a big thank you to Patrick and make my way to the next destination. And coming up on Thursday next on the Loaf of Bread GAA podcast, Slice 30, I fly from the west of Canada to the south of China and to the city of Shunde near Hong Kong and Macau. It is here I chat with Kieran from the mighty County Down and Sonny from the beautiful Ontario in Canada and find out all about life in the home of the great Bruce Lee. The lads tell us all about being in the home of the self-proclaimed smallest GAA club in the world, the rivalries at Beijing, Shanghai, Suzhou and others, the Asian Games, Sonny picking up the GAA, and other key issues like, are the Chinese a great bunch of lads, Shunde being a UNESCO gastro city, and whether the lads have picked Bruce Lee or Conor McGregor. That's next Thursday morning from 9 AM as I continue the journey with 2 slices a week. I'll see you at the arrivals hall, but until then, check out the various clubs on the Instagram page and see all the amazing work they do and some of the nicest GAA gear going. Find the podcast on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter and on TikTok. Email loafofbreadpod@gmail.com or just simply hit the follow button and spread the word of the Loaf of Bread GAA pod across the globe. Slán.